Hello internet, and today I'm going to show you some books that I got. So this book haul is from April. Towards the end of April I went to the bookstore, I ordered some books online. I just had a lot of fun because I have to buy books, otherwise I'll just die. And I filmed this before, but something happened to that video, so I'm doing it again because you guys have to know what type of books I have on my shelves because I need to tell you. So I'm about to go through all of these books again and tell you why I bought them, what they're about, or whether or not I even know what they're about. So yeah, just your normal book haul. So the first two books I'm going to mention are ones that I was really excited about. These ones were on Book Outlet for a really good price. Book Outlet's become my new best friend. I'm not sponsored or anything. I just really like it, and I think I try to buy something every month from them because I really like books and they have good deals. So the first two books that are by the same author, and that is Certain Dark Things, and then we have The Beautiful Ones. Both are by Sylvia Monroe Garcia. These books, I'm not quite sure what this book is about. I think it's like a girl has telekinetic powers. She's a part of like high society or something. I'm not quite sure. I do know that the main character is Latinx. I'm not quite sure like where on the spectrum, just Latinx in general. And then on this one, which was the reason why I was really invested and wanted to buy this author, was because this one is about vampires and I love me some magical creatures, and this one is about an Aztec vampire, and I think she gets in a fight with a European vampire at some point. I just really love creature stories, and I want more creature stories where it's not like making it romantic. I just want like a person to happen to be a vampire and then be a part of the story somehow. I don't know how better to explain that. Maybe I'll think of a way one day, but I was just really excited because I grew up in Belize. We are around the area where the Aztecs, the Mayans, the Incas were, and like I lived right down the street from some ruins. So like seeing that in a book and having them be vampires, freaking amazing, so I had to buy it. Next we have a book that I bought simply because I like collecting books, and that is The Tales of the Peculiar by Ransom Riggs. This is a short story collection that revolves around his peculiar trilogy. In that world there are peculiar children, kids with weird powers, and this is based on the concept that in that society they are told a bunch of different stories and stuff to all of these kids, and these are some of the stories that these kids would have been told about peculiar powers and peculiardom and stuff like that. And my aunts are really loud. I am very sorry. I don't know why they decided to start yelling all of a sudden, but you know what, we're just gonna continue. Anyway, I just wanted my own copy. I really liked it. I like short story collections when they have to do with like fairy tale stuff, so I really like this one, and yeah, I just bought myself a copy. And then we have Rebels by David Liss. This is the second book in a series. The first book is Random. This series is sort of like, I guess the easiest comparison I can make is sort of Ready Player One or Armada by Ernest Cline. Both of those books have to deal with nerddom and like being a nerd of science fiction and fantasy and that sort of stuff. So this is about the same thing. It follows a kid who ends up joining this team to kind of prove that the Earth should be a part of this alien alliance, and he ends up going to a different planet in like a different galaxy and trying to rack up points so that he can get Earth a part of the alliance, and he has to use his knowledge of science fiction to kind of navigate this new world and these new people he's talking to. And luckily enough, because he's a gigantic science fiction nerd, a lot of the things that would be traditionally confusing when you're entering in a new society with new technologies and just new and different people you have never before seen in your life, because of his knowledge as a sci-fi geek, he kind of can navigate better. So I liked it. I thought it was a fun story. It definitely ended on a little bit of a cliffhanger for the first book, so I'm excited for the second book because I'm like, I need a sci-fi geek to kind of just be a geek, and that's how he wins. That is his superpower, and I'm totally okay with that. Next, I got Not Your Villain by C.B. Lee. This is the second book in a series. The first book is Not Your Sidekick. This book I have been waiting forever to buy. I just kind of had to convince myself to go ahead and buy it because I was just like, oh, you'll wait for the price to drop, you'll wait for the price to drop, and then it got to a point where I was just like, you know what, you know you're gonna fucking buy it anyway, you might as well just shill out the money and buy your damn book. So I did. I bought the book. So this has a transgender male as the main character. This whole book is about superheroes, and in the first book we discuss a lot about like this the main character in the first book was a bisexual girl who she's getting an internship with a bunch of villains, and she's slowly learning about like conspiracy of like what's going on with the hero arc and the hero-dom and everything around there. So this book follows her friend who is introduced in that first book and who is a part of this hero system, and he is trying to deal with like his own issues, and we're continuing along with learning about this conspiracy and how we're gonna stop the government from being like crazy nut jobs, which is pretty funny with like his story because if I remember correctly, his parents are very anti-government. They're conspiracy theorists. So like the idea that there is actually conspiracy and that this boy's gonna get involved just like strikes me as hilarious. So, you know, I thought that was funny. Anyway, it's a hero book. I like heroes. I think like he has amazing powers. I'm probably spoiling it because you're not supposed to know like who he is for the first book, but whatever. Just buy both of the books and read them. They're still awesome, even though I just told you a major spoiler. They're still really good. Next book I have here is Bygone Badass Broads. This is 52 Forgotten Women Who Changed the World. This is put together by Mackenzie Lee. She did biopics on 52 different women, telling you about things that they've accomplished, amazing things and feats that they did. These women range from all across time. They're of all different countries, different skin tones, different sexualities, and you're just learning more about how these different women kind of affected the world and changed the world for the better. And a lot of the women in here would be amazed that you don't know about, and I was just like, I had a lot of fun with this book. Nonfiction isn't traditionally something I lean towards when it comes to books, although I don't mind nonfiction books. It's just a lot of them feel like boring textbooks, so I'm always seeking ones that I know I'll be really entertained by the author with. So Mackenzie Lee was great. The biopics are really short, easy to understand. You really understand what the point is. They're really short, but you know, like if you wanted to look up more about this woman, you could look up more about the women that she talks about. Also, the way Mackenzie Lee kind of tells the story of these women has a little bit of humor, and when she's describing the things and like, you know, stuff like that. So it really brings a lot of personality into it rather than it just being fact. There's a lot of facts, but there's also a lot of her personality and the way that she's explaining these facts that really grabs your attention and like has you entertained. This is definitely like a lot of information to take in at once. I mean, it's like 52 different women and they're all doing amazing things. So this is definitely something that I think is probably like good for like learning and initially learning and for like looking at a little bit, but like you're probably gonna reread this a couple times and you're probably still gonna be amazed by how badass these women are, because you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, remember that chick? Yeah, why don't we remember more? Anyway, I really liked it. I like the artwork and how they had these little artistic pictures of all the different women. It was great. It was a lot of fun, and it's a good nonfiction. The next book I bought was isn't really a book per se. It's Gutentama's Guide to Life. I just really like Gutentama. It's like this cute little egg character. It's like a little depressed egg. And I just like him. I think it's really cute. So I saw this little book and it has like weird little guide to life things. Like this one says, winning isn't everything. Winning isn't as important as doing your best. Take a sting out of the next temporary step back and follow these Gutentama examples. I can't. I'm not going to pretend. Can I go now? Is it over yet? Pass. I give up. So as you can see, that's just really me. I am Gutentama and I just think it's hilarious. Like, here is how you get fit, and all it is just Guten Thomas saying that working out is too much and he doesn't want to do that, and I can totally relate. So yeah, this is more of like a coffee table book than really a book to read, but it brings me much joy, so I bought it. The next book I bought, I'm not quite sure why I bought it. It's Picture Us in the Light by Kelly Lloyd Gilbert. I can't remember what this is about. From the cover and from what I think I can remember, it's like this boy and he's going through some stuff, and like he takes up like graffiti and artwork and stuff, and then he meets another boy, and if I'm not mistaken, these two boys are supposed to have a romance of some sort. But other than that, I really don't know what's going on in this. I think like I mainly bought it because I swear I saw someone talk about this book and like be excited about this book, and then when I saw it in the bookstore for like $5, I was like, I'm pretty sure I saw someone on BookTube say that they wanted to read that, so I bought it. Like, I have no idea if I'm gonna like this book, what's it about, I don't know, but I bought it. And that's the important thing. Next, we have another series that I'm just like, I like to spend money, and that's why I have it. This is the Lord of the Rings trilogy. This is the Valentine edition that came out in like the 70s, I believe. It was at the bookstore for like $15. I don't really have any interest in reading the Lord of the Rings, but I feel like as a book collector and as somebody who loves fantasy, it's just a given that I have to have my own copies of Lord of the Rings. I might eventually read them. I don't know. Maybe I'll just watch the movies and like read some book summaries or something. I have no idea. I just thought these look really old and kind of cool, and you know what? I probably need a copy of Lord of the Rings. Whether or not I'm gonna read them, like, it's just, as a collector, I need my own set. So that is why I have these. And it has a little map on the box set. Next, we have Providence by Ann Leckie. I don't know what this one's about. I know it's sci-fi. I know Ann Leckie is praised a lot as a good sci-fi author, and I'm pretty sure the main character is some female driving a spaceship. Maybe I'm confusing that with another Ann Leckie book. I have no idea. I just know that I kept seeing this when it came out. I was really excited for it, and that stuck with me. And then I saw this at the bookstore, and it was $5. And this book is like one of those adult books, so it usually retails for like $26, and it was $5, and the condition is really good. So I was like, hold up, I got $5 right here. So I bought it, even though I don't know what's going on. But there's a spaceship and what looks like a moon, and she's won awards on other books, so apparently she's good. And it's justified that I bought this. And the last two books that I bought are, again, these are just for collection purposes, more so than like I'm ever gonna read them. I'm not gonna reread them. I have read them. I just didn't own them. And that is the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. I only have the last two books, so the second book and the third book. So the second book is Days of Blood and Starlight, and the last book is Dreams of Gods and Monsters. These were both at the bookstore for like $2, and I was like, hey, I like that series well enough. Like, if you watch my book rants about them, you would think I absolutely despise the series. I don't. I just have frustrations with it, but I support you in making me frustrated. Anyway, these are the holder editions. These ones aren't that limited edition that is impossible to find. These are pretty easy to find. These are like the newer holder editions. I think you can find these at some point. I still need to get the first book in this edition, but hey, I have these two. They're mainly just so I can say I own a lot of books. I'm probably never gonna reread this series. Like I said, if you watch those videos, you can see that I had clear frustrations. Didn't hate it, but like, I don't know if I could live through that frustrating time again. I don't know if I have patience, but I do now own these last two books in the trilogy. So pat on the back for me for spending money on things that I know I'm not ever gonna reread, because that's what collecting books is about. That is it for this book haul. I bought all these books in April, and I'm only telling you about them now, and I have other books that have hauled, but you're gonna see those sometime this month because that's a separate haul. So yeah, that's what you get for this time. That's what I've added. I'm filling up my shelves pretty quick, not surprising, but I have so many books at this point that I'm like, where am I going to put them? And my aunt says I should stop buying books, but she's not a book collector, so I just looked at her and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I might not have shelves space, but like, I'm not gonna stop buying books. She clearly doesn't understand. Clearly. Anyway, these are the books I bought. Most of the books I bought here were just like, whatever. Because that's how you're supposed to go towards buying books, is just be like, it's a book. I'm pretty sure I have like an obsession habit that's probably not really healthy, but it's whatever. I'm okay with it. It's like you know what, if I'm supposed to have one bad habit, buying books isn't the worst one I could have. I could be on drugs. That's what my aunt needs to understand. I could be on drugs, but instead I'm buying books. It's money well spent. So if you like what you're seeing here and you want to continue to see more, click all those buddy buttons down below, and goodbye, internet.